Hello everyone, so I will be doing my May wrap up. For the month of May I read 4 books, so let's get started. The first book I read in the month of May was Heaven by V.C. Andrews. This revolves around Heaven, who lives in poverty with her father, stepmom, and 4 half-siblings. Her father is never home. He's either gambling away their money or things or spending time with hookers. When a tragedy happens, the stepmom has had enough and just leaves them all. And this makes Heaven have to take care of everyone. So she has to quit school and just try to keep the family going. Because of this, she has to give up her dream of becoming a teacher. One day her father comes home and he starts selling off the kids one by one. Heaven is sold to this wealthy couple and things look like they're going to get better for her, but unfortunately it isn't everything she hoped for. I gave this a 3.5 stars on Goodreads. I read this for the Petermon Book Club. At first it took me a long time to get into this book. The dialect was very hard to read. For example, it says, "We got a trip to make, ya and me, down to where we plant our kinfolk. Been trying to make it with ya for many a year. Can't keep putting it off. Time runs out, it does. Then it's too late." The story didn't pick up until like halfway through the book. I really want to learn more about the author because most of her books, the themes are surrounded by abuse within the family, and it just has this really creepy vibe to it. I will say trigger warning for rape, so you may want to stay clear of this book if you have issues with that subject. The second book I read is Lair of Dreams by Libba Bray. This is the second book in the Diviners series. This book is about Evie, who is now living in luxury after everyone finds out that she is a diviner, and she is this big radio personality known as the Sweetheart Seer. She hasn't talked to her uncle in a while and is avoiding Jericho, and Sam is still searching for his mother, and a new diviner named Ling is introduced, and she is a dreamwalker. The main plot is how in the city, mainly Chinatown, people are developing something known as the sleep sickness, where people go into a coma and they never wake up. During one of Ling's dream walking, she sees a ghostly veiled woman and realizes that she has something to do with the sleep sickness. So basically everyone comes together to try to overcome this sleep sickness. I gave this a 3.5 stars on Goodreads. This satisfied my "oh no they didn't" reading challenge requirement for the month of May, which was to read a fantasy book by a female author. I found parts of this book really interesting, while other parts just bored me. The parts that actually had to do with the plot I found interesting, like the Diviners and Project Buffalo, but everything else just did not interest me. Especially the love triangle or square now, because now they introduced Sam into the mix. I just found that so annoying. It was so unnecessary. All it did is just make me not like these characters. With this love triangle thing, it just takes away from the actual story. It just makes me not want to gravitate towards it because I know I'm gonna have to read this romance, when all I really want to know is about the diviners and the fantasy aspect of it. The third book I read is I'll Be Gone in the Dark, One Woman's Obsessive Search for the Golden State Killer by Michelle McNamara. This is about the serial rapist, serial killer, and serial burglar who has committed at least 12 murders, more than 50 rapes, and over 100 burglars in California between 1974 to 1986. In 2006, Michelle launched her website, True Crime Diary, and this is where her obsession for the Golden State Killer, which she coined the name for, began. This book talks about the crimes that he committed, but also Michelle's obsession and Michelle's process in investigating the case. Sadly, she died in 2016 while investigating and writing her book, and so the book was finished by all the notes she compiled. I gave this a 4-star rating on Goodreads. I really enjoy true crime. I like that it's not just about the killer, but Michelle's obsession and why she's so obsessed with true crime and basically everything she went through while investigating the Golden State Killer. I think what I like most about this book is how she took the time to really know the victims. And so she humanized them for us because now they're not just his victims. Most of the time we only remember the name of serial killers. I can name so many serial killers, but not any of the victims, which is really sad because the media always pushes the life of the serial killers and why he did it, but never really focuses on the victims. So I really like that she focused on the life of the victims so we can actually really know them as a people instead of just victims. I just wish she got to see him behind bars and know that she was right about a lot of things. I read partially the book and I listened partially to the audiobook. The audiobook is amazing, especially, and hear her husband read the afterwards was really touching. So I do recommend either the book or the audiobook version. The last book I read is Before I Fall by Lauren Oliver. This follows high schooler Sam Kingston, who is popular, and one night at a big party, she dies in a car accident. But when she wakes up, it's the same day, and she has to relive the same day as when she died. And so in the book, she relives the day over and over again, and she tries to fix her mistakes the previous day and tries to save her life and the life of those around her. I gave this a 2-star rating on Goodreads. I didn't like it since chapter 1. I was just very upset from the get-go. I hated the characters. And this book is very character driven, and since I did not like them, I really didn't care what happened. I think this had a poor representation of suicide. This has rape, student-teacher relationships, and bullying, and I don't think any of that was handled well. It got a little tedious just reading about the same day over and over again and just her just trying to fix everything. There is a little character development, but nothing that makes a difference and nothing that makes me like the characters. Don't get me wrong, I didn't hate this book. I just didn't think it was for me, and I can see it being a little problematic. So those are all the books I read in the month of May. So like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all later. Bye!